Hi, T.O.T. Carlson here. In Hollywood, it's always been big business to revive old intellectual properties. And several years back, Star Trek was among the properties that received that treatment. Today we're looking at this. This is Star Trek Trilogy, the Kelvin timeline. I'm going to unbox this release and I will share my opinions. Nice cover art there with our central heroes. Spine text. Back cover. And this actually has two separate disc inserts here. We have our Blu-ray package here. There are two Blu-rays for each movie, with one having the movie and one having the bonus features. Star Trek, the 2009 reboot film, 2013 Into Darkness, and then 2017 Star Trek Beyond. And there is nothing printed on the back, it's just a plain white sleeve. And then we have our 4K discs of the series. And here we just have one disc for each movie. Most of the special features, of course, are on those Blu-rays. This new take on Star Trek, which was conceived by J.J. Abrams, who directed the first two installments and served as a producer on the third, revived this property, which of course hadn't had any feature films in many years. And nowadays we're having sort of a Star Trek revival with all the new TV series that are coming out. But this series really did a great job rebooting this franchise and of course introducing it to a lot of younger viewers. The first movie, of course, sees James Kirk, who's a bit of a screw-up living in the Midwest, getting drunk in bars, trying to pick up women, and he finds himself recruited by Captain Pike into Starfleet, where he meets characters like Dr. McCoy, the cynical older man whose wife left him, and he finds himself a bit disenfranchised. Uhura, who's very skilled with alien languages. Zachary Quinto portrays the younger version of Spock, the logical, unemotional, half Vulcan, half human first officer. And a lot of familiar faces from the old series appear here, but of course portrayed by actors who are playing younger versions of them, including the late Anton Yelchin playing Chekhov, Simon Pegg portraying Scotty. Simon Pegg, of course, seems to work with J.J. Abrams a lot of the time. And then you have some interesting other characters as well. The opening sequence, which is set several years prior when Captain Kirk is being born, has his father as a Starfleet captain being played by a pre-Thor Chris Hemsworth. And we do get some great performances throughout the film. Spock's mother is even portrayed by Winona Ryder. And one of the real surprises here is Leonard Nimoy, the original Spock, even appears as his version of the character with some timelines crossing over, which makes for some interesting scenes. The movie does not skimp on the big-budget Hollywood action, but it also retains the themes that Gene Roddenberry was aiming for when he created this series, so it's certainly not a bastardization of the concept, and that's something that's gladly welcomed here. The series continues with Star Trek Into Darkness, where Kirk is reprimanded for some of his reckless actions, but Captain Pike plans to reinstate Kirk as his first officer. When some people in Starfleet are murdered, of course, Kirk and the crew have to reunite and go after a mysterious Starfleet officer gone rogue, dealing with not only him, but a militaristic Starfleet officer who wants to weaponize the program. So you have not one, but two pretty interesting villains here, including the rogue Starfleet officer portrayed by Benedict Cumberbatch, who of course would go on to play Doctor Strange in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if you're at all familiar with Star Trek, you probably have a pretty good idea with who his character is actually going to be when the big revelation comes. And that rogue Starfleet officer is even portrayed by Peter Weller, the man who so famously played RoboCop back in the days. This one is a little more convoluted and overplotted than the first film, but it's still a lot of fun and does have some great scenes. The third and final film in this trilogy, Star Trek Beyond, features the Starfleet crew going to rescue a crew from a world on which they're stranded, where they find the remains of some old Starfleet aircraft, and they meet a new villain who's been using techniques to keep himself alive, portrayed by the always entertaining Idris Elba. And it's not long before a battle erupts between them, and of course Elba's character wants to go and attack Starfleet's biggest base, getting his revenge for being stranded. All three of these movies do a really good job showing off these characters. The portrayals of them are great, the casting is excellent, the special effects are top-notch, and even if the sequels I don't think are quite as good as the first film in this rebooted trilogy, every one of the movies is very good for the most part, and these are definitely worth checking out, whether you're familiar with the Star Trek franchise or not. These might just make a fan out of you. All of the movies actually look very good in 4K. The HDR and the added color gamut really benefit from this. Of course, you get deeper, darker black levels. Into Darkness had some scenes that were shot in IMAX, and I'm happy to say the IMAX ratio is intact for this package. A lot of times when home videos are released of movies that had IMAX scenes, they don't retain the IMAX scenes. Of course, Disney is infamous for this, and I'm happy to see that they actually kept that here. And again, you get all those bonus features on those separate discs in the Blu-ray box that I showed in here. A lot of it's just the standard EPK stuff, but it's certainly worth checking out if you're a fan. Sadly, of course, Leonard Nimoy would pass away before the third and final film came out, and there's a tribute of sorts to him in that movie. And Anton Yelchin, who portrayed Chekhov, did not live to see the third movie get released because he was killed in a freak accident, which is an absolute shame because that young man had a great rising career on his hands, and it would have been great to see what he could have gone on to do. I can give this set a very high recommendation. If you're a fan of just movies in general, I'm pretty sure you'll find something to enjoy with these takes on Star Trek. How about you? What's your favorite Star Trek movie? What did you think of this rebooted trilogy? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos. And make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.